You want to know what really makes a woman lean in? Not your compliments, not your charm, not how much you give. It's the one thing most men fear to use: boundaries, real ones, grounded ones, the kind that say, I won't shrink just to keep you interested. Because here's what no one told you. It's not your effort that makes her feel safe. It's your self-respect. In this video, I'm breaking down 6 powerful boundaries that don't just protect your frame. They attract women on a level they can't explain. She'll feel it. She'll respond to it. And if you hold them long enough, you'll stop chasing her attention because she'll be chasing your presence. Before I walk you through these 6 boundaries, take a second to subscribe, hit that like button, and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I read every comment, and it shows me just how many men are done playing small in relationships. Men who are ready to lead, not just react, to set the tone, not just follow it. What I'm about to show you isn't theory. It's the exact shift that separates the men she forgets from the men she feels lucky to orbit around. Now, let's get into it. Boundary number 1 is called the unavailable advantage. You think being available makes you a better man, more respectful, more attentive, more boyfriend material. But in her mind, it often reads as one thing: desperate. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a woman slowly lose interest right after you gave her all your time, your energy, your focus? You thought you were making her feel important. She thought you had nothing better to do. Here's the brutal truth. Constant availability screams low value. It says your schedule is empty, your life is idle, and she's your only source of meaning. You don't even need to say it. She can feel it. In how fast you reply, how quickly you cancel plans to see her, how ready you are to give up your day just to please her mood. And at first, sure, she'll smile. She'll say you're sweet. She'll even post about you. He's so thoughtful. But over time, the polarity shifts, and so does the attraction. Because masculine energy isn't needy. It's centered. It doesn't chase the feminine. It creates space and lets her choose to step into it. This is what I call the unavailable advantage. And no, it's not about playing hard to get. It's about being genuinely unavailable, because your life is already full, not full of distractions, full of purpose. You're building something. You have routines that fuel you, work that drives you, people who rely on you. You don't drop it all just because she texted, hey. That's not cold. That's calibrated. Women feel it instantly. They sense that you're not starving for attention, that your time is a currency, and you don't spend it carelessly. You see, when you're too available, you become a given, predictable, expected. But when your presence isn't guaranteed, your presence becomes desired. She wonders where you are. She wonders what you're doing. She checks her phone, not because you texted, but because you didn't. That gap, that absence, it activates something ancient in her psychology. It's not about ghosting. It's about gravity. You pull her in by not orbiting her 24/7. And the most magnetic part? You didn't do anything to create attraction. You just didn't destroy it by being constantly available. Let that land. Sometimes silence speaks louder than any words. And space creates the very tension that desire needs to breathe. Boundary number 2 is called the no apology rule. Most men think women want yes men. Men who agree, who adjust, who say yes even when they mean no, just to keep the peace. But here's what she actually feels when you do that: uncertainty, weakness, lack of edge. Because every time you fold your truth into a soft excuse, you shrink in her eyes, even if she smiles on the surface. Picture this. She invites you to something that doesn't align with your schedule, your mood, or your mission. You want to say no, but your body tightens. You hesitate. You start crafting your answer like a PR statement. I'm really sorry. I've just got this thing. But maybe I can shift it. I'll let you know. You think you're being polite. She hears you being scared. Scared to disappoint. Scared to set a boundary. Scared to lead. Now let's flip it. same situation. But instead, you say, "Hey, I won't be able to make it, but I hope it goes great. Let's catch up later this week." Clear, polite, grounded. You didn't justify. You didn't fidget. You didn't apologize for protecting your time. That's the no apology rule. It doesn't mean being rude. It means saying no without guilt. It means honoring your own time, your own bandwidth, your own energy, without begging for forgiveness. Because every time you over-explain a boundary, what you're actually saying is, "I don't trust that I'm allowed to say no." And that energy? It's what kills attraction. Not your words, your uncertainty. Real confidence doesn't broadcast itself. It simply decides. It communicates through tone, eye contact, and simplicity. You don't need a paragraph. You need presence. And the irony? When you say no clearly, cleanly, and calmly, most women feel more drawn to you, not because you denied them, but because you didn't abandon yourself. She doesn't need you to always say yes. She needs to know that when you say yes, you mean it. That you're not just agreeing to avoid tension. The truth is, a man who can say no without apology is a man who can lead without fear. He's a man who trusts his own instincts. And that kind of man? He doesn't need to demand respect. He embodies it. So ask yourself, where in your life are you saying yes when you really mean no? Where are you padding your boundaries with 10 layers of soft explanation? Because the more honest your no becomes, the more powerful your yes will feel. Boundary number 3 is called the respect reflex. Disrespect doesn't always show up as yelling. It doesn't always come with curse words or slam doors. Most of the time, it's subtle, it's silent, it hides in plain sight. It's the eye roll when you're speaking, the sarcastic jab about your work, the comment she makes in front of friends that cuts just deep enough to sting, but not deep enough to fight about. And here's what most men do. They laugh it off. They say, "She's just playing." They let it slide because they don't want to seem insecure, dramatic, or overly sensitive. But here's the truth. When you let subtle disrespect go unchecked, you don't look chill. You look invisible. Not to the world, to her. Because while she may not say it, she's watching how you respond. She's testing your edge. She's feeling into your boundaries. And when she realizes you won't speak up, even when you feel that internal shift, that flicker of something wasn't right, she stops respecting you. Not because she's cruel, but because you showed her you won't protect yourself. This is where the respect reflex comes in. It's not about snapping. It's not about confrontation. It's about calmly naming the moment, without fear or apology. You look her in the eye and say, "Hey, I don't let people talk to me like that." That's it. No lecture, no tone shift, no emotional spike, just presence, just clarity, just frame. And the wild part? The moment you do this, not only does her respect for you rise, but so does her femininity. Because the masculine, when firm and grounded, gives the feminine permission to soften. She stops testing. She starts relaxing. Because now she knows you're not just kind. You're anchored. The respect reflex is a habit. You don't need to become hyper-vigilant. You just need to stop betraying yourself every time your gut whispers, "That didn't feel right." Because the longer you tolerate small cuts, the faster they bleed out your value. Think back. Have you ever walked away from a moment with her and felt off, but didn't say anything? That's the frame collapsing. Quietly, slowly, one joke at a time. But when you stand tall and speak with calm authority, you signal something rare. I see myself as worth protecting. And that energy? It's not just attractive, it's unforgettable. Boundary number 4 is called the calm test. Before a woman trusts your emotional depth, she'll test your emotional center. And most men fail that test in the first 10 minutes. She makes a sarcastic remark. She throws a playful jab. She brings up an edgy topic just to see what happens. It's not personal. It's not even malicious. It's instinct. She wants to feel your frame, to see if there's anything solid beneath your charm. So what do most guys do? They snap. They explain themselves. They get defensive. Or they freeze, trying not to say the wrong thing. And in that moment, something breaks. She sees a man who's reactive, not grounded, not present, not unshakable. But the man who passes the calm test? He's different. She teases him. He smirks. She pokes. He pauses. She says, "You probably tell that to every girl." And he replies, "That's cute. You always test this hard on the first round?" No anger, no tension, just centered energy and a sense of play. That's the difference, because emotional control isn't about being cold. It's about being composed. It tells her, "I've met intensity before, and I don't flinch." And that's what makes her lean in. Not because you passed her test, but because you made the test irrelevant. You rewrote the script. While other men try to prove they're not like the rest, you showed her you're not reacting to her storms. You're steady in your own weather. That's what the feminine truly wants, a man who can hold space without losing himself. Because when she senses you're emotionally fragile, she feels unsafe. Not physically, emotionally. She doesn't know how much of herself she can bring to the table. But when she feels your calm, your clarity, your quiet power, she softens, she trusts, and she stops needing to test because she finally found something real. So here's your rule. When she gets fiery, you get still. When she pokes, you hold presence. When she escalates, you stay calm. You don't mirror chaos, you anchor it. Because the man who holds his emotional center doesn't just pass her tests, he makes her feel safe enough to stop giving them. Boundary number 5 is called the authority silence. A man who constantly explains himself isn't trying to be clear, he's trying to be accepted. Let that sink in. Because every time you soften a decision with 5 layers of emotional bubble wrap, every time you send a mini novel to justify your no, you're not communicating confidence. You're negotiating it. And she feels it. You think it's kindness. She feels it as weakness. You think you're clarifying. She feels you're asking for permission. Let's break it down. You say, "I won't be able to make it tonight. It's been a stressful week and I'm really exhausted. But I hope that's okay. I really wanted to. I just can't." Now compare that to, "Can't make it tonight. Let's catch up later this week." Same message, different man. One is hoping she approves. The other assumes his truth needs no approval. That's the authority silence. It's the boundary that says, "I speak, I don't seek." You're not being cold. You're being calibrated. You're not pushing her away. You're pulling her toward presence. Because masculine energy doesn't beg to be understood. It trusts itself. It moves with direction, not justification. And here's the magic. When you say less, you say more. You say, "I own my decision. I don't need to soften reality. I don't need to explain my energy." She might pause. She might blink. She might wait for the extra paragraph. But when none comes, something shifts inside her. She feels your certainty, your edge, your emotional efficiency. And in a world drowning in over-explanation, that silence is loud. Not the silence of avoidance. The silence of a man who isn't afraid to hold tension, to sit in a moment without filling it with noise, to let his words echo instead of being drowned in disclaimers. So here's your challenge. Stop filling the gaps. Let her feel them. Let your words hang in the air without rushing to clean them up. Because the authority's silence isn't about saying nothing. It's about saying only what needs to be said and letting that be enough. And in that restraint, you reveal the real power of masculine presence. Boundary number 6 is called the Mission First Code. Every man thinks he can balance it. His purpose, his woman, his identity. But most men fail the moment they start to bend. She enters your life, and suddenly your morning routine shifts. Your priorities slide. Your focus fades. Not overnight, but inch by inch, until your purpose is no longer the anchor, it's a background song playing on low volume. And for a while, she loves the attention. You're available, you're responsive, you're always down to adjust. But then something changes, not because she's ungrateful, but because she senses something subtle. You've made her the mission, and that kills attraction faster than any other mistake. Here's the paradox. A woman doesn't want to be your whole world. She wants to be part of a world that's already moving. She wants to feel like she's joining a man with momentum, not becoming his reason to wake up in the morning. That's why the mission first code is non-negotiable. It's the boundary that says, my path doesn't pause for love. It includes it. It honors it. But it's not driven by it. Because when you orbit around her, she becomes the sun. And now she has to carry both her energy and yours. She has to lead, to structure, to initiate, and that burden slowly kills her desire. But when you stay grounded in your path, when your mornings are still yours, your fitness still matters, your goals still drive your calendar, she relaxes. Why? Because she's not being asked to complete you. She's being invited to complement you. And that's when she truly feels feminine. When she's orbiting something powerful, not being depended on to power you. So here's the test. Look at your schedule. Does it still reflect your vision? Or has it slowly morphed into hers? Do you still chase progress the way you used to? Or have you started chasing her approval instead? Because the man on a mission doesn't neglect love. He leads it. He doesn't sacrifice connection. He aligns it. And when a woman feels that, when she sees that your fire burns with or without her, she doesn't feel pushed away. She feels pulled in. Not because she has to be your everything, but because she wants to be part of something bigger than herself. That's the power of masculine direction. It creates gravity, and gravity makes everything around it move, including her. Every boundary you set is a message, not just to her, to yourself. It says, I know who I am. I know what I stand for. I'm not afraid to lose what doesn't align with that. And here's the part that most men miss. Women feel that. They feel it in the silence between your texts. They feel it in the calm when they test you. They feel it when your no doesn't come with a guilt sandwich. They might never say it out loud. They might roll their eyes or push back at first. But deep down, they're watching. They're measuring your center. They're sensing whether your edge is real or just reactive. Because a man who respects himself that much triggers a quiet voice inside her. Maybe I need to rise to match this. That's how polarity is built, not through dominance, not through manipulation, but through presence, through a man who doesn't flinch, doesn't overreach, doesn't dilute himself to be liked. You don't win her heart by proving yourself. You invite it by protecting your frame. So here's your challenge. Go back through these 6 boundaries. Pick the one that hit hardest, the one you've been avoiding, and make it your practice this week. Because every time you hold a boundary, you reinforce your self-respect. And every time you fold, you leak your value, whether she says something or not. If this video made you see yourself clearer, hit that like button. If you're done being the man who's always available, always apologizing, always shrinking, subscribe now. Drop a comment and tell me, which boundary are you reclaiming first? Because awareness is power, but action is what makes you unforgettable. Until next time, set the standard, protect your frame, own the moment.